Okay, for this video we're going to look at from your handout. This is problem number 3. All right, there it says at the very top of the page, it's page 3, confidence intervals for mu when sigma is unknown. So here's number 3. A recent survey of 8 randomly selected social networking sites has a mean of 13.1 million visitors for a specific month. The standard deviation of that sample is 4.1. Find a 95% confidence interval with the mean number of visitors. So I wrote down all the important values. N equals 8, that was my sample size. X bar is 13.1 million visitors, and S is 4.1. Now I noticed on my notes I actually have an error down at the bottom. I put based on degree of freedom equals 11. Why I wrote it, I have no clue. But next to the N, I have degree of freedom equals 7, which is correct. So if N is 8, degree of freedom equals 7. And we need to find a 95% confidence interval. So when it's 95%, let's look at our chart, and we have a degree of freedom of 7. What is our T critical value? Let's look that up. So if you pull out your chart, you're going to look at the row that has a 7 and 95%. So if I go down 95% and a 7, as long as my eyes line up correctly, I get 2.365. So that's our T critical value, 2.365. Try to follow that on your sheet, okay? So the formula we're going to use, which we talked about in the previous video, is X bar, that's our point estimate, plus or minus the T critical value times S over radical N. So we're going to find this X bar, and then we're going to add, or we're going to subtract a value for the left-handed number. Then we're going to add a value for the right-handed number for that margin of error. All right, so number 1, let's define our variable. So mu is it's what? It's the mean number of visitors. So I'll just say mean visitors. And number 2, remember we have some assumptions we have to make. One of them we're not going to meet because it's too small. But X bar is from a simple random sample. Letter B, N is large, and 30 is our large standard, but it's 8 this time, so it's not large. So we didn't quite meet that, but we'll have to use that T distribution to get there. And the last one is that sigma is unknown. Number 3, kind of a sketch to show what we're actually doing. So here we have the truth, the population distribution, and we're trying to capture it with a confidence interval based on the middle 95% of observations, okay? Number 4, step number 4, we're going to actually do our confidence interval. Here we go, the calculations. So step 4, whoops, I wrote a 5. So step 4, let's do the mechanics now. So we have an X bar, it's 13.1, so I'm using this formula right there, okay? So I have 13.1 plus or minus that value we got from the chart. That's our T critical value, 2.365 times S, and S is 4.1, over radical 8, because 8's our sample size. All right, so I did the math here. I took 4.1 divided by radical 8, then I multiplied it by 2.365, and I got 3.429. So all that is 3.429. That's our margin of error. So we're going to add that to the right side and subtract it from the left. So we get a left-right value, okay? So 13.1 minus 3.429 is 9.671. That's my left value. Put a parenthesis, put that value, then you put a comma. And when I take 13.1 plus 3.429, I get 16.529. So we're saying this is our interval. We're saying the truth is somewhere between a left value or a smaller value of 9.671 all the way to 16.529. So we have 95% confidence that that will work. So what does this all mean in a conclusion or a summary? 95 of 100 intervals constructed in this manner will capture, because that's where our goal is, we're capturing the truth here, will capture the true mean number of visitors. Now, what does this really mean? If I did this 100 times, if I took 100 samples, and this is just one of my outcomes, we're hoping that's one of the 95 that works. So with the way we have constructed this, we would think that 95 of them would work, they'd capture the truth, and 5 probably wouldn't if we took 100 different samples and did the same math, all right? So this is just one of them. So we're thinking that's our confidence interval that will capture the truth. So we're 95% confident that worked. All right, the next one we'll do a confidence interval for pi, proportion, percent. All right, 95%, or we'll say, let's not use 95. So 57% of Americans like pizza. We'll try to capture the truth. Okay, that'll be our next video.